I feel like sometimes there's these pivotal moments where they'll come in such a strong way that really kind of like is one of the ways that they guide us energetically too. It's not just necessarily about let me hear what they're saying. Like I didn't hear the words of what they said to do, but also just like the feeling, the sense that you get. Like you sensed and you felt everything's okay. So you took action based on that. Welcome to the Angelic Frequency Podcast. We are your hosts, Cristina and
Luisa, and today we had a lovely conversation with Archangel Raphael. That's our episode. It was all about Raphael, how he shows up for us in our lives. We talked about healing, emotional healing, inner child healing, physical healing. It was a super interesting episode, and you get to see us channel Archangel Raphael for a little bit. So it's super interesting. We hope you enjoy.
Hello. Oh, it's good to see you on here again.
It's good to see you. We made it.
I know. Quite the start this morning. We are like 45 minutes late to when we were originally going to start recording.
Right. So it's been a journey. We're just glad. We're glad
we're here. We made it. And I think that's such an important, just like FYI, that doesn't matter who you are or what kind of spiritual connection you have, you still deal with life's ups and downs and like just being late and just things not going on time and just handling it and navigating it and just like, wow, we made it. We're here.
We're here.
And right before we started, I was just like I'm letting everyone know. I was just like, okay, angels, ground us to have this conversation today because
everything was happening. And I'm probably whatever hiccup happens today, that is kind of the energy we're stepping into, and we're riding the wave.
We're just riding the wave. It's all good. I think, it's so interesting because we were talking about a certain archangel that we wanted to talk about potentially today, but I actually feel, can I just tell you who I feel coming forward right now?
No, who is it?
Raphael wants to come through.
Okay, whoever wants it. Yeah, it's your show. You can do whatever you want.
It's your angelic frequency, Raphael, or whoever, all the angels. So
I'm liking this system, like trying to channel and bring through someone, and then whoever wants to come in, we just give them the space, and
exactly. But it also just reminds me of so much of this, like, you can plan, you can choose like, oh, we're going to talk about this archangel or talk about that or whatever. But then at the end of the day, it's like, well, this is the energy that's coming forward. So this is the energy that wants to.
It's chaos today.
It's been a chaotic morning. So Raphael is coming in and like bringing this like soothing energy, like take a deep breath in, everybody, and breathe out. But really, seriously, I do feel him coming in like this like soothing balm. Like that's literally what it feels like this soothing energy, and just very like, I don't know, like mellow, which I think, when we have a chaotic morning or whatever, right? Like our nerves are a bit like over here. So I do feel like Archangel Raphael is kind of bringing us down and just in a way of like calm. It's okay. Like cool as a cucumber. That's what it reminds of.
I love it so much. Raphael, and it's interesting that you bring him up and that he comes through, because so just to give everyone kind of the context of what we were trying to do, and it's because Cristina is writing her Archangel book. So every chapter is a different archangel. It's a deep dive. First chapter is Raphael.
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we did a deep dive on Raphael. So maybe that's his way of like, hey, chapter 1 is so when you start with me first, we'll move on to the second chapter. Maybe there's some of that.
That's actually very true.
Right? So it's like, hey, you skipped ahead.
Yeah.
You're supposed to talk about me.
Right. We're not starting at chapter 3, like you're starting at chapter 1.
Exactly. So maybe that's it too, like way of stepping forward and bringing us back to Archangel Raphael. So why don't you tell us, how did he come through in the context of the book, and what is that chapter about?
Yeah, I love that. And That's such a great question because there's so much information about Archangel Raphael. And for me, like I'll just start off by sharing that I feel like for me the book is the way that I'm writing it, it's kind of twofold. One is that it's to have a way in which you're able to quickly reference whatever archangel that you want to learn more about. So Raphael, he happens to be chapter 1. So but also if you wanted to skip forward to, I don't know, chapter whatever, I forget, I don't know what number it is, but Zadkiel or Michael, who are later chapters, you could flip to that chapter and read about them and receive whatever you need to receive. But then also, if you do read the book from front to end and like go chapter by chapter, there is a sequence. There's actually like a journey that you're following, that you're walking along, going from start to finish. But then it also makes sense to just pick up whatever chapter and read. So that's how I'm building the book, which I'm really excited about, to have it like that. And my intention is that you pick it up, grab whatever information you need, whether it's a quick reference or whether you actually get into the story and into the actual practices and the transmission that is coming through each chapter. So anyways, that was like my big overview of the book. You asked about Archangel Raphael specifically, so
that's okay. It's good for us to have general context, and that's useful for potentially readers down the line to understand that.
Yeah, exactly. But with Archangel Raphael, it's really about starting off the journey. It's kind of like thinking of it as a starting point. Where do we all kind of, if you think back to when your spiritual awakening kind of started happening, or as you started to become more aware of spirituality in your life, and how one of the first aspects of that is the heart opening and opening up your heart and allowing your heart to be in a space, because for so many of us, whatever lives we've lived, whatever traumas we've experienced, whatever challenges and situations, I don't think that there's a single human being on earth who has not had a closed off heart chakra and heart space. And so that's kind of the first step in the book, is how can we begin to open up our hearts to the love of the divine, to our true selves, to our divine nature, to our own light, because that's the part where so many people actually have resistance. And it's like this feeling of, am I actually good enough? Am I actually worthy? And there's this duality that's happening, because on one hand, people are like, well, I want to know who I truly am. I want to discover my soul's purpose and my truth and my gifts and all those things. And then on the flip side, we're battling with these feelings of unworthiness and these feelings like, am I even good enough? These feelings of, who am I to be calling on the angels to support me? That's a huge thing that many people have, is like, who am I to be calling on the angels? So
huge hurdle for me at the beginning when I started working with angels. It's like, me, little me, what do you mean you're talking to me? Like, with everything happening in the world, like, I'm just not worthy or important enough, or that's huge. So it's one of those things where you just have to try and realize, they're multidimensional beings that are here for everyone at the same time. So it doesn't matter. They can be addressing the big issues and they can be addressing you, but also that's what they're here for, to support humanity. And that means you. Yes, as an individual, you matter. And in the grand scheme of things, individuals are also very well, we're the microcosm, and the we're this drop of water, but at the end of the day, we're the representation of everything that is to be human. And our problems, as unimportant as we think they are, they matter, and we matter to them. So knowing that you can call on anyone at any time it's really important. But that's a huge hurdle, especially for anyone who was raised Catholic like me, for example, where you're like, the archangels are like, super important up there in the structure, and you just feel like there's these huge characters from the Bible, and you don't necessarily feel like there's that kind of connection.
Yeah. I think the most common thing that I've seen is this like, well, I shouldn't be bothering them with my problems, like, and
Yeah.
that kind of a thing. But it's like, that's actually why they exist. They're here to support us, and there's no like ra- ranking. I don't know what to call it. Like, there's no hierarchy of like this problem is too small for the archangels and they only solve these bigger problems or whatever. And I don't know, is that a thing in A Course in Miracles? Am I getting that right? Does the Course in Miracles say something about there's no, or maybe it talks about there's no level of difficulty?
Level of difficulty. Yeah,
No.
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, exactly. It can be bigger issues, smaller issues, but nothing is more important than, nothing's necessarily
nothing more or
more
less
important.
important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all matter.
We all matter. Yeah, totally.
So
1,000%.
Archangel Raphael. So again, for me and my Catholic upbringing, I remember him like the visual I have of Raphael. Green is the first thing that comes to mind. He has a fish for some reason that's meant to symbolize something. We'll look it up in a second and we can talk about it. But some sort of like, it's not a scepter, but it's like a walking stick almost. Which, yeah, I'm getting this totally wrong. We'll look it up and clarify. But yeah, there's some symbols, very green, all about healing, more so like, or I associated him more so with like health, like physical healing and restoring health. And that's usually what I call on him for. And I've told you my COVID story and everything. But other than that, or for when someone's really sick, like that's my go-to archangel. But I know he's so much, now I understand him as so much more and healing on a very different level too. But I'm wondering, when he comes through, what do you perceive?
Yeah, I love that. And definitely, yes, green is huge when it comes to like, that is just his immediate color. And I don't know that anyone ever really, but at least what I've heard, because for certain angels, people will perceive them in different colors, which it's all good, in terms of how people perceive them. But I feel like with Raphael, he's very consistent in being green for people. I don't know if people have a different color. I want to hear in the comments. Very consistent with being green. And yeah, he is very commonly known as like health and healing and things like that. And yeah, it's just like you said, like there's so much more to him. Definitely one of the other associations with Archangel Raphael is the heart chakra, which also happens to be green, but just like that heart connection. And within that, there's so much that we can, go into. One of which is inner child healing, also is a common place where I see him coming forward is through inner child work, but just in general, helping you to be more open, like having your heart space more open. And so that also is connected to emotional healing. So emotionally healing from the past, which has some ties with inner child healing, if I'm honest. But then, so there's so many different rabbit holes that you can go down when it comes to healing within the heart chakra, but that's a general overview of that. And then, yeah, of course, the physical healing as well is a part of it too.
That's interesting. It's a staff, technically. I found this.
Oh,
Staff with serpent. So that's the symbol. The symbol we see was
yes.
associated with medicine, healing, balance. So yeah, that's the word I was looking for. And
There
for
you go.
anyone interested, the fish. So
Yeah, I've never seen him with a fish specifically. So
no, okay, this is very Catholic then, because this is a Bible story where he healed Tobias's father. He was blind, and he used the gall of a fish to heal him. So that became sort of an emblem of Raphael, like
oh, I see.
related to the Bible. And yeah, that's interesting. Because on the witchcrafty side of things, I've also heard like the goldfish used to heal, but it's based off of that story, and that's he
Okay.
did a little preparation, I guess, and it's described in the Bible in a certain way. So on that other side of things, like they use that same, yeah,
Yeah, that's so
I don't want to
interesting.
say spell, but that same process to heal certain things or to represent healing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. That's interesting how it's like you see these common threads between things that seem very unrelated or like,
Yeah, now
not.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's so interesting.
So, Raphael, I felt him really strongly back when I was pregnant. I think he was
Mhm.
just constantly with me, not necessarily because I experienced a particularly difficult. There was some stuff, but it wasn't a particularly difficult pregnancy. I wouldn't say that. Or he made it easy. I don't know. Maybe that's what happened. But I did feel his presence a lot.
Mm.
So it's interesting to see how different angels come in and support us. I guess that's such a hard, like physical, mental, emotional, everything transition. And you're dealing with, yeah, inner child, but you're dealing with very physical stuff
Yeah.
that I guess it would only make sense for Raphael to be an angel that walks with mothers like that.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It makes so much sense and to physically support you through it because it's such a physical change like in so many ways. Not only is your body changing, but you're literally growing a human. So it's like
Yeah.
that's huge when it comes to that. I've seen Raphael and I've also seen Gabriel come through a lot for
Mhm.
during like pregnancy or like during labor and delivery kind of too. Like Gabriel, interestingly enough, I've seen also coming in
And
during
I guess, yeah,
that time. I don't know
he Gabriel's
how,
the one that comes.
why.
Yeah, how and why they operate, and we don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he's a messenger. So I guess just bringing through a new life into the world, he'll bring through, I don't know.
Yeah, bring the soul. Yeah, the soul's truth and the light. And yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, that's interesting. How does Archangel Raphael come forward for you? Like, how do you know it's Archangel Raphael?
I don't know. In my mind's eye, I don't know. To my right, like because I feel them more physically than anything else. I would feel him on my right usually. So I
Mhm.
felt a very like strong presence to my right. And in my mind's eye, I perceived this tall figure, and he was like long, white hair,
Oh.
and almost like I want to say like it felt like a crown made of light, like
Mm.
very bright, white, long, straight hair, like very, very, very long, and the staff.
Oh, okay.
That was my mind's eye, what I perceived, and so yeah, I just knew. I just knew it
So
was
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that knowing where it's just like, I can't explain it, but I just know.
I just know exactly. I can't explain it, but I just knew it was him. And also, like, I mean, the staff was what sort of gave it away for me because I was trying to connect the dots and figure out who
Right.
is this, and then the staff was kind of the symbol that was like, oh, that's him
Yeah.
to me, and that's how I made the connect. I literally was googling like Archangel, angel, staff, like who is this?
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's kind of how I'm like, oh, of course, Raphael. But there was like an inner knowing, definitely that it
Mhm.
was him, and also the constant feeling of him enveloping me in sort of like this rainbow
Mhm.
energy and just like cocoon like
Yeah,
energy and just protection, and So I
that's so
guess
cool.
that was kind of the constant
Yeah.
in my mind, and it was really nice. And I had a I think I've talked to you about this. I had a really rough time in terms of just deal like almost mourning like an aspect of myself and my individuality, and like so now from now on it's just I'm a mom, and that's
Right.
it. Like me is just gonna get lost in there, and there was a very real loss, a sense of loss
Right.
attached to my pregnancy. So I was dealing with that a lot. So I think he was also helping me go through my own emotional healing and
Yeah.
processing the change and what was coming,
Yeah.
because yeah, it wasn't easy for me in that way. Just I very much saw that as a before and after, and how my life was just going to completely change. But I was very scared of the fact that I was going to lose myself in the process, that I
Right.
was not going to be front and center in my own life.
Right. Now you're it's the baby's world and we're just
Exactly. I
revolving
wasn't the
around.
main character anymore, and I didn't. I didn't know how to feel about that. And I guess it also goes back to, inner child work and lots of things in there. And he helped me, every step of the way. And that was
Yeah.
very comforting. And also the weird thing about it and his presence, and generally the archangel's presence, because at the time I also remember how a friend of ours sent archangels to our house. And so there's this like thing that you do, and you just set an intention. There's like a way to do it. You say some prayers, and then you send archangels to someone's home, and they're going to stay there for 7 days. Every day of the week is attached, like associated with a specific angel. You do certain things every day to acknowledge their presence and welcome them. And then after the 7 days, you send them off to the next house. So the next person you think is needing the archangels. Why at that time? Why did she send us the angels? And that, all of that, we'll never know. But that's how the angels came into my life. That's when Elena came into our lives as well.
Wow.
And so she was very much brought by the angels
That's
into this world.
amazing.
And then where was I going with that? That I started to feel their presence very strongly. And that's when I started to work with archangels. And they really helped me through this whole transition. So and they've been with me ever since in a very strong and different way than ever before in my life. That was a very important activation, I guess, or I literally invite them into my life and they never left.
That's so cool. I love that so much because I remember, because I was just trying to think back to your story of what you shared before about like when you discover or when the angels were coming in and like, and kind of like the little breadcrumbs that you followed. So that was like kind of like the beginning part of that, right? And then like continuing after that with how the angels' presence, like you said, never left.
They never left. Yeah. Well, it started a little bit before, but that was kind of a very strong like breaking point, and it really shifted the relationship in a different way. Before that, it's always like at this crossroads when they kind of found me back home when I was about to come to Canada. It was the first time I started working with them a few months before, or doing like that transition in the months leading up to us moving. Then that's when I started meditating with angels. This intuitive knowing came through my mom, and she was like, "Oh, you're going to work with angels. You're going to do something with angels. You might just, there's something there. Just look into that." I was like, okay. And the nerdy little me went on to buy every book about it, that I could find. I went to my favorite bookshop back home that had like metaphysical and woo woo stuff, and I got every single book I could find about angels and archangels. Read every single one. Started meditating every single day. At that time, I found Sonia Choquette as well. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And so I started doing her archangel meditation and just really this daily ritual very strongly in a way I haven't done before. And that's the first time I started physically feeling the presence of angels, not knowing that's what it was. I also discovered my guardian angels for the first time. Again, one of them started to physically help me like feel her presence. Now I know it was her. I called her him for a very long time. I'm sorry. So that was a really important time in my life. So
Yeah.
Sonia's work and Lorna also, like a lot of angels in the air. And that's when I started to physically feel them. And I had a spontaneous like activation sort of thing, meditating one day. And I felt myself, I don't know how to describe that even. I imagine that's what one would feel like floating in space. There's no sense of up or down or anything like in meditation. I was just somewhere floating. I didn't know what was there. And it freaked me out. I just stopped.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
There was a lot of fun stuff at that time. But it was one big transition,
Oh,
then into Elena. That was a major shift. And so they found me at the
yeah. That is so cool. I love that so much. And it's interesting how, like it's so interesting to me to think about the timing of when they come in, and it's just like, oh wow, like, and it's just this life-changing thing because you're going through a big life transition anyways, but how much that influenced and supported that life transition. Like imagine going through those things without the angel support. Like making that big move or having a child, like what's
Yes, that's where I was going with my story about the archangels visiting home and then big life transition back when I was moving here. Those moments have that in common. Navigating those big life changes with the angels made so much of a difference in my world and how we experience that. There was just an intuitive knowing that everything's going to be okay. We're going to be fine. Like that leap of faith or whatever, like that transition felt like there was certainty in like, it's going to be okay. So we're going to move here. Like, what's the best possible outcome? Let's just get to that. Somehow it's going to work out. We're going to make it. So there was just this ease and peace within, but knowing that they were walking that path with me. And then when the time came for Elena to be born, even though there were some complications in my pregnancy and there were moments where I should have been really scared. And one time, I didn't even go to the hospital. This one night, I was experiencing awful pain. I struggled with fibroids during my pregnancy. And then when they were coming out of like a certain place and into my stuff, from out of the uterus into my stomach, it was like the pelvic area, the bones. So coming out of there, it was so painful.
Yeah.
I might have been losing the baby that night. And I was so certain that it was going to be fine. Like she's going to be perfectly fine. She's perfectly healthy. Nothing's wrong. Everything's going to be fine. I should have rushed to the hospital. This was don't do this ever. This was me being very, this is not advice at all. But I was just so sure, baby's fine.
Yeah.
This is something that we can figure this out tomorrow morning. It was the middle of the night too. And I hate going to hospitals in the night. Like, we can wait for daytime to come. We can go in early and figure this out. I'm going to be fine. But I was just so certain. I didn't even, and it was excruciating. It was so incredibly, it was the most painful, the most pain I've experienced ever. But I was just like, no, she's absolutely fine. It's okay.
Wow.
And there was just knowing. Again, wouldn't recommend, don't ever do that. Ever. Just go to the hospital. Don't think about it. But that was my experience. But there was this like, no, baby's going to be totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so cool. It was very much the angels just like reassuring me and giving me all these insights and intuitive things.
Yeah. And that's so great that you followed that intuition, because I feel like that, like when that happens, I don't know, there's just so much that it's almost like there's also a guiding you towards the path of your highest good. Because who knows, like unnecessary stress, if you, let's say you had gone to the hospital, probably, like been in that.
Exactly. The wrong doctor, the wrong time, something. There was a reason why I was not meant to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So that's amazing. I love that. And I feel like that is such a huge part of just in general, like going back to navigating big life transitions, but also just life in general alongside the angels, how I feel like there's certain moments where they'll be super loud in that case, like in the sense of like you had such a deep knowing of like everything's okay that you took action in alignment with that energy. You know what I mean? And I feel like many times they'll come through in that way. And when we tune in and listen, like we can really align our actions to how they're guiding us. And then of course there's other moments where I feel like our mind is just so loud in the chatter and overthinking, like what's going on, what's happening, this and this. And that's okay too. It's just that, I don't know, I feel like sometimes there's these pivotal moments where they'll come in such a strong way that really kind of like is one of the ways that they guide us energetically too. It's not just necessarily about, let me hear what they're saying. Like I didn't hear the words of what they said to do, but also just like the feeling, the sense that you get, like you sensed and you felt everything's okay. So you took action based on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Navigating life with that sense of peace and certainty in moments where you could be freaking out. You could be just giving to fear and just like, moving to a different country, baby, like or complications and whatever. But yeah, just experiencing life with that level of certainty and walking with them and tuning into that energy can make it's not gonna, we've talked about this before too, like it's not gonna fix it necessarily. You're still gonna struggle, you're still gonna go through the transitions, you're still gonna have like these things happen. It's just how you experience them is so different.
Yeah.
That yeah, it just, yeah, moments where I should be really scared and weirdly I'm just not. So it's that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, wait, what's wrong with me? Why am I not freaking
Why
out
am
more?
I so exactly? Why am I not freaking out right now? But yeah, you just know they're gonna figure out the landing. You don't have to figure out details. They're on it,
Yeah.
and just trusting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, kind of going back to what we were talking about Archangel Raphael and kind of the angle of how I'm talking about him in the book and just in general, his presence and how he's coming through, it feels like a huge part of the spiritual journey is opening ourselves up to that, like what we were just talking about, that level of trust, that level of, just leaning in. And that requires an open heart for us to allow that energy to come in and to guide us and to trust in those feelings. Because for so many of us, we grow up being in our heads, right? Like what makes logical sense? What does my brain think? What is, plan 5 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead. But that's not the case when it comes to our spiritual awakening and our spiritual growth and living in alignment with our soul's path and who we truly are. It's about opening up our heart, leaning into that unseen and building towards trust and building towards the intuitive side and following things even when they don't make sense. Like you not going to the hospital doesn't make any sense, you know what I mean? But but it was so aligned for you not to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And it all worked out, and it was just, yeah, it was just me in pain, but baby was fine. But yeah, it didn't make sense looking back now that I say this out loud. Yeah, damn. You're taking action. It's so weird. And the hospital was 3 blocks away, by the way. It's
Oh,
like I'm just gonna have to go out at the middle
yeah,
of the night and drive out. No, it was literally like walking distance. I
you
could
can
have
walk there. Oh
walked out,
my
walked into the hospital. It was so easy. But yeah, anyways, it's funny how life works out sometimes. But definitely, yeah, I'm feeling that. Yeah, Raphael is definitely one of those archangels that comes through in those big,
gosh.
important moments in life. Lean in to his energy, call on him, give him your worries. Another interesting exercise that I also think I've brought up a number of times is how those moments, what they have in common as well, is trying to think of, we usually give in to the worst possible outcome and our fears and what we think is going to be the unraveling and the worst thing that's going to happen. But whenever you catch yourself doing that, giving that energy or those thoughts or that anxiety to your angels and trying to force yourself to think through what's the best possible scenario, what's the best possible outcome, and then inviting them to, knowing that you don't know what that is necessarily, that you're certain that they are making sure that you are following the best possible outcome, and whatever is coming, whatever challenge, whatever's in your way, trusting that they know the, if they can see your life from like above and they know where they're taking you. It may not make sense to you at the moment, it may feel like a challenge, but they're just throwing things out. It's just redirection. They're just taking you where you're supposed to be at the right time, the right circumstances, the right people, and it's just gonna work out for you. So just kind of trusting in that and not giving into fear. And if you're running through scenarios, make them the best scenarios. Like, what's the most fun thing I could possibly end up doing? What is this, my
Yeah.
baby's face gonna look like? I don't know, like whatever that incredible thing, best possible thing that can happen to you at that time. Try to work through those scenarios, and the energy shifts.
Yes, 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 1,000%. I think that's so powerful and so important for people to know that, like, we have that power to be able to shift our energy and our focus in that way. It really is about what you're focusing on and where you're putting your attention, and then calling on the angels to help you with that. So it's like, even just one of the things that I like to do two is like a short little prayer of, okay, angels, I'm having such a hard time trusting the process right now or trusting in this situation. So please show me, help me to trust, like help me, like bring in that trust frequency. If I were to trust in this situation, or if I were to trust in the unfolding of whatever thing, what would that look like? Like, how would I behave? What would I be saying? What would I be thinking? Please help me to lean into that, and then asking them, because that's, I feel, one of the main key things too about working with angels is actually the practical side of like in the moment. Okay, I know that I'm having anxiety about this thing. I know that I need to lean in more into trust, but how do I do that? Let me call in the angels and like have the practical application, like help me. And the way that I see it, it's almost like when we call on them, they hold a certain frequency, right? Like let's say they hold a frequency of trust. Well, it's almost like we can absorb it like a sponge. Like the more that I'm calling on them and asking them, help me to trust or help me to lean into that trust, I can start to absorb the frequency that they bring. And by no logical way that makes sense to the brain, we start to lean into that and start to feel that frequency more in our bodies. Because to me, when you say like, hey, how do you trust more? It's like, I don't know how to outline it step by step. Like step one, you need to do this. And step two, this. It's a feeling, it's a frequency. So it's more about tapping into that frequency and asking the angels to help you with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just give it to the angels, call on them, ask for help, and they'll figure out the rest. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I really needed to hear that myself say that today, actually. I'm going
Yeah.
through another one of those, crossroads right now. So I'm like, yeah, trust.
Yeah.
Gonna be
There
fine.
you
But
go.
weirdly, although I'm navigating a very yeah, particular moment in my life, I am not freaking out.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
So I'm weirdly calm. I have no idea how this is going to work out. They need to figure out the landing. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm weirdly calm.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's so good. I love that.
that's progress. I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
much better.
Look at that.
Other times, I would have at least it would have been the anxiety, the trying to
The
mentally
whole
work
past
myself
version of
to
you, right?
exactly the
Yeah.
past version of me would have been trying to figure this out, would have been trying to go through best case scenarios to calm down the anxiety, trying to give
Okay.
this energy to the angels. I think I've come to I sort of bypassed a few of those steps at this point. I'm like, I'm fine, they're on it, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna
Exactly.
figure this out.
Yeah.
Funny how I needed to hear myself say all those things
Isn't that
today.
so cool?
Yeah,
When we
it's so
like
cool.
it
They
just
know.
comes in and yeah.
Usually our episodes, I love how they work out like that, and half the time, whatever we're saying, it pretty much relates to us, and we need to hear it too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we're giving ourselves our own advice. Like, yes, thank you. I needed to receive that. So
Yeah.
good.
And I just heard cycles.
Mm.
So I guess Raphael in particular helping us through closing chapters, closing cycles, healing, whatever that was, and transmuting that and onto the next thing. Like, I guess there's something to that as well. Do you perceive it like that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because I feel like in general too, when we think about the healing process, it is that like closing and then opening into new and kind of moving through in a cyclical way. So yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. And I feel like I'm just like tuning in too, because it feels like there's something connected to the heart space too. It feels like almost like every time we go through a cycle like that, what happens is that it expands our heart chakra more and expands our capacity to hold more when it comes to, like, think of it as when you're moving through a challenging moment, like you're holding a lot of energy, like emotional energy and things like that. But also at the same time, your growth, as you go through the challenge, you're growing and you're also holding the capacity to hold more truth and hold more light. Like you're going through this simultaneous, like navigating challenging emotions, but then also at the same time, holding more space for more of your true self to come through. So if it feels like there's that expansion that you like in your example, real life example right now, you're seeing the fruition of that because you are noticing yourself navigating this situation from a different emotional frequency. Like you're at a different space, you know what I mean? So that also speaks to like your heart expansion over the last X amount of time, and how you've expanded so much now that specifically, I don't know, he keeps showing me heart chakra. Like I keep seeing like the heart space and as though like here, but now it's expanded here. So what this means, what he's saying is that it also is now has increased the capacity like for you to stand in your potential is what he's saying, because the heart space is so expanded, and standing in your potential and stepping into what that is. So
You.
really interesting. I love that.
Yeah, I kept seeing like, again, this is a great concept from our conversation with Neil Donald Walsh, but is the upward spiral journey, right? So it doesn't mean that we're not going to find ourselves in the same situations in life, encountering the same challenges. It's just life giving us the opportunity to experience that thing, that challenge in a different, more expanded, more evolved, connected, aligned way. And just see how we experience life from different perspectives, even though it's the same stuff. But we can see our conscious and our heart chakra. We can see ourselves expanding and growing and evolving spiritually in that way. So I can definitely see that today, because closing a cycle with peace and gratitude and love, and and just letting go with peace and embracing the next, but also like knowing you're in the void and navigating that awkwardness of the in between can be so stressful. And but also knowing how like, I'm not freaking, what's going on, what's wrong,
right, exactly.
or am I actually doing this, and whatever. Yeah, it's a very different experience. So again, it's the same situation, but the perspective is completely different, and that's what makes the human experience. So
Yes. And I just want to say, I feel like it's so important for us, like when we notice these things about ourselves, for us to really acknowledge it. Because I've had moments like that too, where I'm like, I'm so proud of myself. Like I'm not reacting to the situation the way that I would have in the past.
yes.
So I feel like that's such an important and empowering thing, is that acknowledgement, for that. So
Yeah,
we're celebrating it.
great.
That's awesome.
Look at us growing, expanding. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
that's so good.
So important, so good. Yeah, Raphael, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Raphael. We
Thank
love
you.
you.
We love you. I needed to hear that. Thank you for the pep talk. And also for showing me, because I guess the walk down memory lane is just showing me every moment in life where we've needed to come in for one of the big ones, right? We've always been here. So this is just another moment, and we're also here now with you. So acknowledge that and understanding it and feeling it. It's important. So I can see.
Totally.
In hindsight is like, yeah, everything worked out. So it's gonna work out.
Yeah, and I think in general that's such a powerful tool for people to just hearing about this and then being able to use this as a tool for themselves, of looking back to past experiences in your life where you were going through a major challenge or transition or whatever, and then seeing, oh, now I'm on the other side of it. Oh, I navigated it. I am on the other side. It all worked out, like similar to what just happened for you, of you seeing that. Like I feel like that's such a powerful tool in general for people to like reflect back on their life, and how there's many moments where I can think of, like, before the unfolding of the situation or during, it was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? But then on the other side of it, it's like, oh wow, like I made it work. Like I got to the other side of it. It's all good now. You know what I mean? So it's a powerful way to also just bring ourselves into a state of, okay, I got this. I'm capable. I'm supported. I am able to figure it out. Like all of those things that help us navigate challenging times.
You know what? He just brought my attention to this side of my screen where the traveling staff is an important symbol in here because the symbol is guidance and protection on journeys. So he's trying to get my yes. So
no.
traveling staff has a deeper meaning in that sense, and that's the journey of light. And he's protecting you on those journeys, and he's providing guidance. And that's an important part of the traveling staff and the meaning behind it, beyond the healing medicine and all of that. So he just wanted to bring our attention to that. Thank you.
That's so cool. Thank you, Raphael.
Also, do you see me having a live conversation too? I'm so proud.
Yes, I love that. Luisa's channeling live with us on.
There you go. I'm starting to do it. It's working.
You're doing it. That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That's so powerful. It makes so much sense.
He's guiding us on this journey. He's protecting us. We're here. He's got us. So just lean into him, lean into his energy whenever you're like, the adventure of life.
Yeah.
It gets scary. He's on it. He can guide you and protect you on that journey.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to say, like, I just feel his energy is just so like comforting. I mean, all of the angels have very comforting energy, but there's just something about Raphael, and it's hard to describe. I don't know what it is. What is it about his energy, like, that's unique? But it just gives so much comfort and so much safety, and that feeling of just being held. I don't know, or at least that's my experience of his presence. So I really love that when it, like, with what you just said about, he's with us on our journey, and to be able to lean into that presence and that knowing.
Well, you think about that healing energy, whether it's emotional or relationships or physical or whatever it is, there's nothing more comforting than that healing energy. Like when you're in a state of emergency and you see, I don't know, the fireman or the doctor, and you're like, okay.
Right.
Comforting that, have that sense of relief. So I guess that's what he is. That's what he brings through.
Yeah, totally. And I have a special place in my heart for him because he was the very first archangel that I ever even like became aware of. It's really weird because I grew up going to Catholic school, but I was never really aware of angels, or really like I don't know, maybe I had heard their names, but I really was not aware of like Raphael and Michael and like Gabriel and whatever. So yeah, but when I connected with him for the first time, I was just like, what? Like, these angelic beings exist? They're real? Like, whoa, that's crazy. But he was the first one. So yeah, he always has like a special little place in my heart.
That's why he's chapter number 1.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Is he also number 1 on the booklet, on the oracle deck?
I don't remember. Might be, actually. That's actually crazy. Should we just like
look it up?
Okay, I'm looking. I'm opening up my card deck. This is a great time to show everyone who's watching on YouTube the card deck. In case you didn't know, this card deck exists.
You should know that card deck exists.
And we'll link it. We'll link it in the. He is
number 1. Look at that.
Gosh. Yes, that's so cool.
So wait a minute, you didn't plan it like that when it came to the book? You didn't plan it like that?
No, because I should have actually, but no, I don't think that this card, the booklet does not go in order of how I'm doing the chapters.
That's wild.
That's so crazy.
Hey, number 1, we got that.
Yeah, that's cool. At least I got that one right. I don't know. We'll see what the other. I don't think that I knew how I was going to do this book in this way when I was creating the card deck. That's why. But then when I was really going through and like creating this newer version, I've had different iterations of like trying to put this book together, but this version, it was like this was the order that came through.
So interesting that he's number 1 always.
He's always number 1 in my heart. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding, but not kidding. So I love this. This is so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Meant to be. One more time. We started We wanted to go somewhere, and they took us on a very different trajectory.
Yeah.
So it's
His
interesting.
presence was just so strong. It's like you can't ignore it.
Can't ignore number one. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Well, I want to hear from our audience and let us know in the comments what Archangel Raphael's presence, his energy, what that's been like for you. And if you have any other questions about him, let us know in the YouTube comments. But yeah, this was such a fun conversation. I love this.
So fun. Yeah, I love it so much. Thank you, angels. Thank you, Cristina. Thank you, listeners.
Thank you for sharing your story and helping to bring it all together in a way.
Together. Somehow it worked out. There you go.
Yeah, it always works out. But yeah, so what else? I wanted to share with people a couple of like reminders and things. Number one is that we have an Instagram page now. So if you are not
Yay.
following us, make sure that you're following the Angelic Frequency Podcast on Instagram. So much fun. I love that space so much. So make sure that you're following us there. And then the other thing is to make sure that you are, of course, subscribed or following the podcast on any of the podcast platforms, but also to share your reviews, your ratings, because that's actually what really supports the podcast to reach more people. So that would be such an amazing way to support this mission of getting angelic energy into the ears of more people, the angelic frequency, people who want to learn more about angels and these beautiful conversations that we have with each other, with our amazing guests. So drop a rating, drop a review wherever you're listening to this. That would be so helpful. And yeah, I think that's it. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, that's it. Follow us. Again, that's a great way to support our work. So follow our page, and you're going to find so many fun new things going on in that page. So we're creating fun content for everyone. So yeah, that's another way to stay in touch and connected. And we hope to see you there.
Yay, amazing. Well, thank you all for listening in. This was so great. And we'll talk to you very soon.
We'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye.